Turn on the news right now, and it looks simple. The US and Israel struck Tehran.
New strikes across Tehran tonight as the US-Israeli war on Iran.
Operation Roaring Lion. Leadership reportedly eliminated. A clean, lethal operation. But while everyone is watching the explosions, something far more dangerous is sitting quietly in the Persian Gulf. And if it moves, even a little, your petrol prices spike, global trade chokes, and the entire world economy starts sweating. Iran knows it cannot win a direct war with the United States. So the real question isn't, can Iran fight back? The real question is, what happens when they don't have to? In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you the single geographic choke point that keeps the modern world running, and why the West may have just walked straight into the most expensive trap on Earth. To understand the coming economic collapse, you have to have a look at the map of the Middle East. This here is the Strait of Hormuz. 20% of all the oil consumed on Earth passes through here. The media will tell you the strait is 33 kilometers wide. That sounds like plenty of room to dodge an attack, right? Wrong. Supertankers are the size of floating skyscrapers. They draft incredibly deep because of the shallow, rocky seabed. The actual sailable shipping lanes for these massive vessels are just tiny corridors, and there's only 2 of them. Each one is exactly 3 kilometers wide. That's a 3-kilometer puddle sitting directly under the Zagros Mountains, a 1,500 kilometer wall of jagged rock packed with hidden mobile missile launchers. Iran doesn't need to sink the US Navy. They just need to drop a few smart mines into that tiny lane, and the world's energy supply stops. But blocking the water is just a distraction. The real nightmare is what happens on dry land. Modern military strategy has a massive blind spot. If you drop a bunker buster bomb on a military runway, you blow a hole in concrete. The military just pours quick drying cement, and the runway is open 48 hours later. But if an Iranian suicide drone hits a facility like Saudi Arabia's Ras Tanura refinery, the math is terrifying. We're talking about a $20,000 piece of fiberglass with a lawnmower engine going up against a $2 billion custom-built superstructure. These oil and gas facilities are not just storage tanks, they're massive, highly volatile, pressurized machines. If a single loitering munition detonates against a high-pressure stabilization tower, it doesn't just make a hole, it instantly collapses the pressure of the entire plant. The automated safety systems trigger. Everything within shuts down, causing the entire facility to die instantly. And here's the shocking reality that governments are terrified to admit. You can't order a new distillation tower on Amazon Prime. These components are forged from custom steel alloys designed to handle highly corrosive chemicals. If one is destroyed, you have to order a new one from a heavy industry forge in Germany or South Korea. The lead time to build, ship and install that replacement part? 12 to 24 months. A single drone can take 5 million barrels of oil offline for a year and a half. The global supply chain simply can't survive that. It would crash instantly, causing oil prices across the globe to spike dramatically. And it's not even their most terrifying vulnerability. Look at this map. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar. Do you notice what's missing? There are no rivers. None. These massive, hyper-modern cities survive purely because of massive coastal desalination plants. They suck seawater in and blast it through high-pressure reverse osmosis membranes to create drinking water. These plants are just as fragile as the oil refineries. They rely on delicate, custom-built industrial water pumps and intake valves. If Iran targets the desalination infrastructure with a swarm of cheap drones, they don't just hit the economy, they hit human survival. Most of these Gulf nations only hold a 48 to 72 hour strategic reserve of drinking water. If the desalination plants go offline, and the replacement parts take months to manufacture, cities like Dubai and Riyadh physically run out of water in 3 days. This isn't just about the price of gas anymore. This is an industrial gun pointed at the heads of US allies, forcing them to pressure the US to back down or face total societal collapse. While the physical infrastructure burns, the final blow to the global economy won't come from a missile. It'll come from an email sent from a desk in London. Before a single ship is even touched, the global shipping market will freeze. Why? Because of the invisible wall of maritime insurance. A modern supertanker and its cargo are worth $250 million to sail in the Persian Gulf. They require war risk insurance from massive syndicates like Lloyd's of London. The second a drone hits a refinery or a water plant, those actuaries in London panic. Insurance premiums skyrocket by 1,000%, or coverage is cancelled entirely. If a ship has no insurance, the owners refuse to sail. It doesn't matter if the US Navy offers to escort them. If the paperwork isn't signed, the ships stay in port. The ocean is paralyzed. With the Middle East effectively offline, the ships that are already at sea have only one option: sail all the way around the continent of Africa. This detour adds 4,000 nautical miles to the journey. That's 2 extra weeks at sea. Millions of gallons of extra fuel burned. Freight rates quadruple overnight. And this destroys modern manufacturing. Every industry on Earth, from European car factories to Asian tech companies, relies on components arriving exactly on the day they need them. When you randomly add 2 weeks to every shipping route on the planet, factories run out of parts, assembly lines halt, the supply of everyday goods plummets. But there's one final target in this war, and it's not made of steel or concrete, it's made of paper. If you think the United States is fighting to protect the oil, you're wrong. They're fighting to protect the United States dollar. For exactly 50 years, the global economy has been held together by a single unspoken agreement: the PetroDollar. Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states agreed to sell their oil exclusively in US dollars. In exchange, the United States military guaranteed their absolute protection. Because every country on Earth needs oil, every country is forced to hold massive reserves of US dollars. It's the only reason the US can print trillions of dollars in debt without hyperinflating its own economy. But the Iranian drone strategy just broke that promise. The strikes proved that a multi-billion-dollar US missile defense shield can't protect Saudi oil from a swarm of cheap, asymmetric drones. The US military guarantee is suddenly worthless. And if the US military cannot protect the oil, the Saudis have no reason to use the US dollar. They're already pivoting to China. They're preparing to settle energy trades in the petro yuan and gold. If the global oil market drops, the dollar, the foundational demand for US currency, collapses overnight. Trillions of dollars currently held by foreign central banks will be dumped back into the United States. This triggers an uncontrollable hyperinflation death spiral. The US government loses its ability to fund its own massive national debt. The strikes in the Middle East aren't just an attack on physical energy, they are the controlled demolition of the US financial empire. The strikes on Tehran were designed to eliminate a political regime, but they have triggered an asymmetrical war that the West is structurally incapable of winning quickly. Military superiority can win a firefight, but geography, industrial bottlenecks, and supply chain mathematics dictate who actually survives the war. We are watching the forced restructuring of the global economy in real time. Until the hyper-fragile infrastructure of the Middle East is secured, every single global market is on borrowed time. So, here's the real question. Will the US secure the oil facilities before Brent crude hits $150 a barrel? Or are we already staring down the barrel of a decade-long global recession? Drop your economic predictions down in the comments right now. And if you want to understand the raw mechanics, the geography, and the invisible systems that actually run our world, hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.